2026 Missouri DMV HazMat Endorsement Test 230 Questions and Complete Answers. Question 1. In addition to reading the manual, the best way to learn about transporting hazardous materials is to Option A. Talk to other hazmat drivers. Option B. Attend hazardous materials training courses. Option C. Follow your instincts. The correct answer is Option B. Attend hazardous materials training courses. Explanation. While the manual includes all of the information required to pass the hazardous materials knowledge test, you should consider reading the manual as only the first step to learning about the topic. You can learn more by reading and understanding the federal and state rules about the transportation of hazardous materials, as well as by attending hazardous materials training courses. Question 2. Who must label hazardous materials? Option A. The mechanic. Option B. The shipper. Option C. The driver. The correct answer is Option B. The shipper. Explanation. The shipper of hazardous materials is responsible for packaging, marking, and labeling the materials properly. It is a good idea for the driver to ensure the materials are properly labeled. Question 3. A person attending a placarded vehicle may be Option A. In the sleeper berth. Option B. Either awake or asleep inside the vehicle. Option C. Within 100 feet of the vehicle. The correct answer is Option C. Within 100 feet of the vehicle. Explanation. A person attending a parked placarded vehicle must be either awake inside the vehicle or they must be within 100 feet of it. If not inside the vehicle itself, the person must have a clear view of the vehicle. The person attending may not be inside the sleeper berth. Question 4. How often do hazardous materials employees need to be trained? Option A. At least once a week. Option B. At least once every 3 years. Option C. At least one every 10 years. The correct answer is Option B. At least once every 3 years. Explanation. Employees who work with hazardous materials must be trained and tested at least once every 3 years. Question 5. If you're transporting explosives and your vehicle breaks down, you should notify other drivers. Option A. With flares. Option B. With reflective triangles. Option C. By standing on the roadway and waving your arms. The correct answer is Option B. With reflective triangles. Explanation. If your vehicle breaks down while you're transporting explosives and you need to use warning signals, use reflective triangles or red electric lights. Never use burning signals, such as flares or fuses, when transporting explosives. Question 6. If a package contains liquid containers, the box must display Option A. Arrows pointing in the correct upright direction. Option B. A return address. Option C. The number of containers inside the box. The correct answer is Option A. Arrows pointing in the correct upright direction. Explanation. Packages that contain liquid containers must have orientation markers. Arrows displayed on the box should be pointing in the correct upright direction. Question 7. If transporting a package that contains radioactive materials, it is important to know that Option A. Radiation surrounds the package and will pass through to other packages. Option B. The package should be transported in the cab. Option C. The package should be loaded on their side. The correct answer is Option A. Radiation surrounds the package and will pass through to other packages. Explanation. Radiation will surround each package of radioactive materials and pass through to all nearby packages. The number of packages that can be loaded together is controlled. Question 8. How did you label a package if the hazardous materials label will not fit onto the package? Option A. Place the label on a tag securely attached to the item. Option B. Attach a QR code to be scanned. Option C. Reduce the size of the hazmat label to fit it completely on the item. The correct answer is Option A. Place the label on a tag securely attached to the item. Explanation. Shippers should place applicable diamond-shaped hazard warning labels on hazardous materials packages. If a label will not fit entirely onto a package, shippers may instead place the label on a tag that is securely attached to the package. Question 9. Before loading or unloading flammable liquids, the engine should be Option A. Turned off. Option B. Revved up. Option C. Left on. The correct answer is Option A. Turned off. Explanation: unless you must run the engine to operate a pump, you should always turn off the engine before loading or unloading flammable liquids. Question 10. Placards showing the type of hazardous materials in a vehicle are usually shaped like what? Option A, an octagon. Option B, a circle. Option C, a diamond. The correct answer is option C, a diamond. Explanation: hazardous materials warning placards are diamond-shaped. Question 11. Class 1, Class 2.1, and Class 3 materials should not be placed in a trailer with it. Option A, a heater. Option B, an air conditioner. Option C, other items. The correct answer is option A, a heater. Explanation: the use of cargo heaters is not always permitted when transporting materials that are categorized as Class 1 explosives, Class 2.1 flammable gases, or Class 3 flammable liquids. The use of heaters in the same space is generally prohibited. Question 12. A placard indicating hazardous materials is which shape? Option A, diamond. Option B, triangle. Option C, circle. The correct answer is option A, diamond. Explanation: in general, vehicles carrying hazardous materials are required to display diamond-shaped warning signs on all four sides. These warning signs are called placards. Question 13. If a shipping paper describes both hazardous and non-hazardous materials, the hazardous materials may need to be: option A, highlighted in a contrasting color. Option B, circled by a pen or marker. Option C, unmarked. The correct answer is option A, highlighted in a contrasting color. Explanation: if a shipping paper describes both hazardous and non-hazardous materials, the hazardous materials must be distinguished in one of three ways. They must be entered first on the shipping paper, highlighted in a contrasting color, or properly marked with an X in a column titled HM. Question 14. On a shipping paper describing both hazardous and non-hazardous materials, the hazardous materials may be identified by being: option A, listed first. Option B, written in pencil. Option C, listed in red ink. The correct answer is option A, listed first. Explanation: if a shipping paper includes information about both hazardous and non-hazardous materials, the hazardous items must be clearly identified on the paper. They may be entered first, highlighted in a contrasting color, or identified with an X placed before the shipping description. Question 15. You must mark and label the materials for shipping. Option A, the carrier. Option B, the shipper. Option C, the driver. The correct answer is option B, the shipper. Explanation: shippers of hazardous materials are required to warn drivers and others about the risks of the materials by putting hazard warning labels on packages, putting placards on the transporting vehicles, and providing proper shipping papers and emergency response information. Question 16. Hazardous materials placards are usually shaped like: option A, circles. Option B, triangles. Option C, diamonds. The correct answer is option C, diamonds. Explanation: hazardous materials warning placards are usually diamond-shaped. Question 17. Many products classed as poison are also: option A, radioactive. Option B, flammable. Option C, gases. The correct answer is option B, flammable. Explanation: many hazardous materials classified as poisonous are also flammable. Question 18. An improperly placarded vehicle, option A, may never be moved. Option B, may only be moved in an emergency. Option C, may be driven if the cargo is not radioactive. The correct answer is option B, may only be moved in an emergency. Explanation: a vehicle that lacks the proper placards for any hazardous materials on board may not be driven, except as necessary to protect life and property in an emergency. Question 19. The power unit of a placarded vehicle must carry a fire extinguisher with a minimum rating of option A, 10B:C. Option B, 30B:C. Option C, 40B:C. The correct answer is option A, 10B:C. Explanation: The power unit of a placarded vehicle must be equipped with a fire extinguisher with an underwriter's laboratories O rating of 10B:C or more. Question 20. A placard indicating hazardous materials is shaped like a Option A, diamond. Option B, triangle. Option C, circle. The correct answer is option A, diamond. Explanation. Hazardous materials warning placards are diamond-shaped. Question 21. When traveling with Division 1.1 explosives, you must park at least blank from any building. Option A, 25 feet. Option B, 50 feet. Option C, 300 feet. The correct answer is option C, 300 feet. Explanation. When carrying Division 1.1, 1.2, or 1.3 explosives, do not park within 300 feet of a bridge, tunnel, or building, a place where people gather, or an open fire. Question 22. When applying for an original or renewed HazMat endorsement, you must undergo a background check. Through which agency? Option A, the Transportation Security Administration. Option B, the Federal Bureau of Investigation. Option C, the Department of Energy. The correct answer is option A, the Transportation Security Administration. Explanation. When applying for an original or renewed HazMat endorsement, you must undergo a federal security threat assessment done by the Transportation Security Administration TSA. Question 23. What does a shipping paper describe? Option A, the materials being transported. Option B, how the materials will be transported. Option C, who should accept the materials being transported. The correct answer is option A, the materials being transported. Explanation. Among other information, shipping papers must include a description of the specific hazardous materials being transported. Question 24. When traveling with Division 1.1 explosives, you may park no closer than blank from the nearest building. Option A, 10 feet. Option B, 50 feet. Option C, 300 feet. The correct answer is option C, 300 feet. Explanation. When carrying Division 1.1, 1.2, or 1.3 explosives, you should not park within 300 feet of a bridge, tunnel, or building, unless you're parking for a short period of time while performing an operational necessity, like refueling. Question 25. If your engine runs a pump used during delivery of compressed gas, you should turn off the engine. Option A, while unhooking the hoses. Option B, after unhooking the hoses. Option C, before unhooking the hoses. The correct answer is option C, before unhooking the hoses. Explanation. Unless your engine runs a pump for product transfer, turn it off when loading or unloading a compressed gas tank. If you do use your engine to run a pump, you should turn the engine off after the product transfer but before unhooking the hoses. Question 26. If a driver stops and leaves their vehicle while transporting hazardous materials, the shipping papers should be option A, carried by the driver. Option B, left in the front seat of the cab. Option C, placed in a box under the passenger seat. The correct answer is option B, left in the front seat of the cab. Explanation. If a driver stops and exits their vehicle, the hazardous materials shipping papers must be left on the driver's seat. Question 27. If you notice a cargo leak, you should identify the leaking hazardous materials by option A, smelling the materials. Option B, touching the materials. Option C, using the shipping papers. The correct answer is option C, using the shipping papers. Explanation. If you discover a cargo leak while transporting hazardous materials, use the shipping papers, label, or package location to identify which materials are involved. Do not try to touch or smell the leaking materials to determine what they are, because doing so could result in injury or death. Question 28. Unless accepted, a shipping paper must list option A, an emergency response telephone number. Option B, the address of the shipper. Option C, the location of fire departments along the planned route. The correct answer is option A, an emergency response telephone number. Explanation. Unless accepted, hazardous materials shipping papers must list an emergency response telephone number. Question 29. If transporting hazardous materials, a shipper should warn others by option A, posting hazmat placards on their truck. Option B, putting flashing lights on their truck. Option C, sounding a siren. The correct answer is option A, posting hazmat placards on their truck. Explanation: shippers of certain kinds of hazardous materials are required to display diamond-shaped warning signs, known as placards, on any transporting vehicles. Shippers are required to provide applicable placards, labels, shipping papers, and emergency response information. Question 30. When transporting hazardous materials, placards, option A, should be lit up. Option B, should be used on all four sides of the vehicle. Option C, should be used only by Class licensed drivers. The correct answer is option B, should be used on all four sides of the vehicle. Explanation: when required, hazardous materials placards must be placed on all four sides of a vehicle transporting hazardous materials.